Hello, good evening. I am Ajit Kumar Jha, editor of Public Global and the CEO of Power Pixar. Today in Public India, today we are going to focus on Mr. Shashi Tharoor, his open defiance and open rebellion against the Congress Working Committee. In an interview to the media, Shashi Tharoor has stated uh, in no uncertain terms that he wants to become the chief ministerial candidate of the Congress party in next year's elections in 2026. And he's not requesting the party leadership to consider him. There is a message of threat. In fact, he has pointed out that if the Congress party cannot use him, he is ready to step down and consider other options. Or he'll stay in the party, but he'll concentrate more on, as he said, writing and giving lectures abroad and things of that sort. Now, the point is, Mr. Tharoor is an internationally recognized name. Perhaps some would argue almost as well recognized as Rahul Gandhi is. After all, Tharoor studied in America, did a PhD there in diplomacy. After that, he worked as in the United Nations for decades, and he used to work with Kofi Annan, the former Secretary General of the UN, as his secretary. He even put up his candidature for Secretary General in an open elections, which he lost. Um, and then he kind of stepped aside. But in that letter that he wrote to Ban Ki moon, the next Secretary General, he did kind of say, well, I can reconsider my decision if I'm asked to stay back in the UN. However, as things would turn out, he came back to India, and he has pointed out in his interview that he was asked by Dr. Manmohan Singh, Sonia Gandhi, Ramesh Chennitala, and other senior leaders of the Congress to come back to India and to get into politics, which he did. And don't forget, he has been 4 times consecutively he has won from Thiruvananthapuram. He's been member of parliament from Thiruvananthapuram for the last 4 times, and he has had a great profile in many ways. He's perhaps the best English speaker that Congress party has today. Now, obviously, Kerala being a very literate state where a very large population speaks English, that would be a great advantage. He is not only known within Kerala, like some of the other sort of Congress leaders of Kerala, but he is known outside, not only India, but all over the world. So that way, he has a great profile. Let's sort of do a quick comparison of Shashi Tharoor with, let's say, who are the other well-known leaders from Kerala Congress. Uh, AICC General Secretary in charge is Deepa Das Munshi. Uh, President of Kerala Congress, K. Sudhakaran. CLP leader, Kerala Legislative Assembly, VD Satisan. Then the working president of Kerala Pradesh Congress Committee, Kodi Kunil Suresh. Uh, then there is another president, JB Mathur, President Rahul Mamkutatil, President Aloysius Xavier T. Siddiqui, and several other names. But if just as I'm talking to you, the audience, just as you would not recognize some of these names, some of these faces, neither would I. I mean, of course, we have heard about some of them. And if you take interest in Kerala politics, you would know some of them. But at the same time, none of them has the international stature that Shashi Tharoor has. None of them are as qualified as Shashi Tharoor is. And the fact of the matter is that he has won the 4 consecutive elections despite a lot of prediction that he's about to lose. In fact, in this election and the previous election, there were people sort of almost arguing that Shashi Tharoor is about to lose, and the BJP had put a very strong candidate against him. But Shashi Tharoor knows the magic of winning elections. What he did in his constituency is that he increased the turnout so high in the previous election and this one, that that turnout turned towards Shashi Tharoor. So he knows the art of doing that. In fact, in the so-called interview with Liz Matthew of the Indian Express, uh, and in fact the interview was on Vartamanam, a weekly Malayalam language podcast, that is IE Malayalam, anchored by Liz Matthew. He has pointed out that Congress only relies usually on a base vote, and the base vote of Congress is about below 20% now. It's no more what it used to be on, and he's given an average figure about 17 to 20%, and he has argued that you need another 26 to 27%, a good sort of, let's say, in the mid 40s, to be able to come to power in the country. And it's probably the same reality in Kerala. After all, Congress has not won the last 2 assembly elections in Kerala, although Congress has done very well in the Lok Sabha elections against the LDF. We've had the LDF government in Kerala for the last 2 times. Um, but the LDF doesn't do so well in the Lok Sabha elections. Now, how should we analyze that? That is a puzzle that is very similar to what used to happen in Delhi, that the BJP would win all the 7 seats of Delhi, um, last 3 elections, for example, but it would not win the assembly election. We know that in the last 27 years, except for this election of 2025, the BJP was out of power. But this time, the BJP was able to beat up. Now, what has happened there is something very similar that is happening in Kerala, which is what we call in psephological language the dual voting, or sometimes we call it from another perspective, the swing voter phenomena, which means the same voters, or at least let's say a third to a quarter of the voters of that state, Kerala in this case, what they do is in the Lok Sabha election, they go and vote for the Congress party, because the argument is the fight is between the BJP, which is Mr. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, versus Rahul Gandhi, the leader of the opposition. So they choose between the two. Over there, the left parties, the LDF, is not under consideration. But when it comes to assembly elections, despite RSS activity, RSS good presence in Kerala, somehow the BJP has not been able to penetrate Kerala to any extent. They have not won any number of seats from Kerala ever. So that is the puzzle. Now, so once that happens, the fight becomes between Congress, which is UDF, the alliance of UDF, and the LDF, and in that the voters choose LDF. So let's say 1/3 of Kerala voters end up voting for the Congress in Lok Sabha, but ends up voting the LDF, the left parties, in an assembly election. What Shashi Tharoor is hinting at or arguing, that because there is a vacuum in Kerala Congress leadership, and the fact that he is such a well recognized name compared to all the other members, senior leaders in Kerala, therefore he will be able to bring back those floating voters back to the UDF, back to the Congress in an assembly election. Now, this is something that the Congress has to consider. The Congress Working Committee, Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, President Mallikarjun Kharge, and others have to consider this. There is an element of risk there. Will Shashi Tharoor's personality be able to bring back those floating voters, or will it not? We don't know. That is something left to an assessment. But Shashi Tharoor, being a thoroughbred gentleman in many ways, uh, he has been rather soft. He has not threatened and said that I'm going to switch to the BJP, like, for example, other leaders from the Congress has done in the past. Amrinder Singh in Punjab, for example. We know at the same time Jyotiraditya Scindia from Madhya Pradesh. Jyotiraditya Scindia left the party and joined the BJP. Now, remember, Shashi Tharoor had praised Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the past, although he has written a book on Prime Minister Modi called The Paradoxical Prime Minister, which is rather critical of Prime Minister Modi. But in private, he had sort of appreciated some of the policies of Prime Minister Modi. And at that time, there was a raging controversy. Is Shashi Tharoor going to jump sides? Is Shashi Tharoor going to join the BJP? Similarly, Shashi Tharoor has done recently, he has praised the Kerala LDF government, and he has pointed out that some of their policies are quite good, and that has become another bone of contention for the party, because the party feels that he openly criticizes the Congress Working Committee. He has said that the Congress Working Committee has 100 members, and by the way, Shashi Tharoor is also a Congress Working Committee member, but he says they never take any decision. Obviously, at this stage, he is hinting that they are not taking a decision whether Shashi Tharoor should be the chief ministerial candidate of Kerala for the Congress party. Now, he's obviously frustrated. After all, he is reaching 70s, or in fact into his 70s, and he feels that if not now, then when? So that is something that the Congress has to consider very carefully. Why? Because just last week, I made a video podcast on how the Congress is trying to revamp its party. In fact, Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, and other central leadership of the Congress has gone and changed, two of the party's general secretaries, for example, for Punjab, for Kashmir, and almost, I think, 9 top leaders of the Congress party has been replaced with younger people. Now, why are they doing that? Because we have a list of elections coming up in Bihar, where they again have replaced the top leadership of Congress from someone from Karnataka. Similarly, there are, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Kerala, and some of the other states will be coming up for elections next year. Now, each of these states faces Punjab, which is going to come up for election, let's say in 2027, is a great example. Open factionalism, between two types of leaders, or two different factions inside the party. And one reason why former Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh has been brought as a General Secretary is because he's known to bring factions together. Now, who will do this job in Kerala? In Kerala, is it possible to bring Shashi Tharoor and his rivals into one sort of unit, sort of end factionalism, and either have Shashi Tharoor as the chief ministerial candidate or someone as smart as him? That is something, a decision that the Congress leadership must take now, because if they do now, whatever the risks, at least the leader, the leader has a face, number one. And number two, that leader would end up, get a campaign period of about, let's say, a year or so, a little more maybe. So therefore, it's important that the Congress take the decision now. But do remember that even Rahul Gandhi was a member of parliament from Kerala, and Priyanka Gandhi is also a member of parliament from Kerala. She, of course, contested on the Wayanad seat, the same as her brother. So Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi have a pretty good understanding of Kerala politics. The point is, will Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi, in this case, listen to Shashi Tharoor, try to understand his frustration? Do they have confidence in Shashi Tharoor's leadership, his credibility, the fact that he's a very articulate English speaker. In fact, I've also heard him speaking Hindi. He also speaks, for example, in Kerala, in open discussions, he does in the local language, which I'm not able to judge the quality of his speeches, but he obviously is doing something right to be able to win his constituency 4 times in a row, and that too such a difficult constituency as Thiruvananthapuram. Now, the trouble is the party ready to accommodate leaders who are fiercely independent, like Shashi Tharoor, who have an international image, is very articulate. I've seen people comparing Shashi Tharoor with Rahul Gandhi and saying, who is a smarter leader? And a leader who openly defiant. If you remember, when Mallikarjun Kharge became the president of the Congress party, the man to challenge him from within the Congress for the presidential leadership was Shashi Tharoor. And Shashi Tharoor, of course, lost that election. But a lot of people felt that Shashi Tharoor, being a more internationally recognized name, being a younger person, has a more visible face, is is not shy of the media. In fact, is very popular in the media. At least the English media would have done a better job. Now, obviously, Mallikarjun Kharge, despite his age, has proved to be an extraordinary leader. After all, he was a lawyer in the past. He was a trade unionist in the past. He's just lost 1 election in his life. He had won 8 or 9 elections in a row consecutively. And he is a Dalit leader. But he's not only known as a Dalit leader, he's known as a great Congress leader from Karnataka and now the country. So, it's good that he won, but Shashi Tharoor did defy him at that time. He contested openly, and when asked later, after he lost, he said that should be the democratic spirit of the Congress. There should be an open contest, not simply imposition of someone. So similarly, in a similar tenor, he's today arguing that he be considered to be the chief minister of the state. Now, just 1 year is left. Shashi Tharoor is raising this issue. He has praised Prime Minister Modi. He has praised Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan in Kerala. Now, what does that indicate? If you read between the lines, it is an open threat. If you don't consider me, I can walk over either to the BJP or to the left. Now, whether these political parties will sort of have Shashi Tharoor or not is an open question. Some would argue that the BJP might consider him for 2 reasons. Why? Because the BJP doesn't have a presence inside Kerala at all politically. So with Shashi Tharoor on their side, they will have the most visible face of their party in Kerala. And, as I said, he's an internationally recognized name. Number 2, he can be an excellent external affairs minister because, after all, as I said, he has been in the UN for more than 2 decades. He has lived in the US. He's got enormous international connections. Right now, Prime Minister Modi needs to improve its relationship with the US. He could be a great second person after Foreign Secretary General, for Foreign Minister Jai Shankar. So yes, I think if he decides to get into the BJP, despite the fact that he has been critical of Prime Minister Modi, but he has done it in a more sort of academic fashion. If you read the book Paradoxical Prime Minister by Shashi Tharoor, it points out that, Prime Minister Modi has, for example, promised this but ends up doing that. He's kind of pointing out the paradoxes in the Prime Minister. But at the same time, he has also written a book on Hinduism, My Hinduism versus the Hindutva Hinduism. So all that is there, yet he's a person who has praised Prime Minister Modi in a public audience, and he would be considered an asset in that party. Now, whether he will go or not, at this moment, he's saying, no, I will not cross over. I'll stay in the party, and despite that, I will point out my differences within the party. He was also, if you remember, a member of that group which were critical of the Congress central leadership. At one point, the group of whatever they were called, 36 or something, in which Ghulam Nabi Azad was a member, several of the other well-known, even Manish Tiwari was a member, some of the very well-known leaders of the Congress party who would argue that Congress must, changed its strategy in dealing with the BJP. So he is again one of them. Now, will Congress as a party be liberal enough to accommodate Shashi Tharoor, who I think is an excellent candidate for Chief Ministership of Kerala, and let Shashi Tharoor be able to bring the party together, start a great campaign from now on, and make sure that they win this election, make sure that the floating voters which run away to the LDF stays back in the UDF, and Shashi Tharoor become a chief minister? Or is the Congress party in a mood to probably get rid of Shashi Tharoor? They might think he's become a liability instead of an asset, and deny him that and see a further factionalism in the party and maybe Shashi Tharoor stepping out. That depends on the vision of the central leadership of the Congress, the CWC, and Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, and others. I'll leave you here, but this is not a storm in a teacup. This is a real, what I would call sort of, in a way, a premonition of a serious storm that is brewing in Kerala Congress, in the Congress party, and it might have repercussions on other states of the Congress party, because they are on the verge of organizational revamp. And here is a man tall enough, raises the voice of rebellion, and the Congress needs to take care of it. Thank you very much.